Shalom. We're in Parashah Vayelech. That means, and he went. In context of the verse in Deuteronomy 31, Moses went out and spoke to the people for the last time. Now this is also where it mentions Moses' age, that he was 120 years old. It's also within the context of Joshua taking over the leadership. This is where Moses said that Yahweh will not allow him to cross, and he will not cross over. They will need to go with Joshua, but Yahweh, their Elohim, will go before them and destroy their enemies. So this is the context of the words to the last generation prior to crossing the Jordan, prior to entering the Great Tribulation. And you can depict this time frame as the time of sorrows. That's the time where Moses will die. That's the time where there's change. People don't like change. And that's also the time of separation, where people who's crossing the Jordan will separate from those who stay behind. And I believe there might be some people who stay behind, because in the previous Torah portion we read that I think it was 2 or 3 tribes, they wanted to camp on this side of the Jordan and not cross over. So I believe there's some people who stay back. So there's families being separated, families being broken up during this time of conflict, where the spiritual and the physical started to overlap. And that's basically where we are. We can feel the same, that families and friends and people are being separated. We feel that separation with the things that's happening. So we're basically at the border of the Jordan, and the conflict and the pressure and the powers to be, the north versus south, the spiritual versus physical. You can feel it tangible, and it brings that heaviness of depression upon the people, that's followed by fear. But what does Yahweh say? He said, fear not, cross over. Speaking through Moses, he said, Yahweh Elohim will go before you and destroy your enemies. Now this weekend I prayed and I asked Yahweh, so when are you going to step in? When is this going to be enough? When are we going to see your miraculous power? But I think we're still early days. That's why there's nothing happening from the Northern Kingdom point of view. But we need to be strong. We need to stand strong. We need to prepare ourselves and have faith and not fear. It's easy to fall into this helpless state of depression, this helpless state of, I don't know what to do. I wish someone will stand up and do something, and then we can cheer them on. But I'm not going to do anything. That's the way most people feel. And we don't want to stir the pot. We don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to get fined. We don't want to do things deliberately to oppose the laws of this land. And hopefully Yahweh will step in and bring a change. So I don't have the answers regarding that, but what I do know is that the Feast of Trumpets, it's on its way. So this Torah portion I am going to present overlaying the Feast of Trumpets, and I'm going to present it this coming Sabbath. Trumpets is the 8th of September, Wednesday evening. Our Jewish brothers, they've got the 6th to the 8th on their calendar, but the 6th of September is still 3% waning state of the moon. So it's not even a dark moon yet. So then we have the 7th, the dark moon. Then the 8th, there's a very small percentage of a sliver. And then the 9th, there's 3% sliver. So it's definitely not the 9th, it's definitely the 8th. The evening of the 8th, which is Wednesday evening, where we blow the trumpets. No, we are not going to assemble on this side. I'm just going to prepare. And the reason is I won't have enough time to prepare something of substance by Wednesday evening. So I will keep on doing the parashah for this week, overlaying the Feast of Trumpets, and then we'll discuss that on Sabbath between Yom Teruah and Yom Kippur, between the two times, the day of Yahweh and the blowing of the trumpet. So, with that being said, let's step back into this parasha and the beginning of this parasha. Moses is 120. I looked at the gematria of 120 and I saw the word Orion there. Now, Orion is used in Job and it's linked to Pleiades. And Pleiades is the 7 stars that is referred to in Revelation 1 verse 16 to 20, where it says that Yeshua holds 7 stars in his hand. We also see the symbolism of Orion, which is 3 stars together, they make 10 stars. And we know that in the sign of Revelation 21, there were 10 stars, or 10 stars in the crown of Virgo, the Virgin, which is symbolic of the bride preparing herself for the coming of the groom, which is Mashiach, Yeshua. Now, I still need to confirm whether those 10 stars are actually in the ground or it's just linking to the number 10 through Orion and Pleiades, and then the other 10 stars on top of the bride is one and the same. Don't know, we'll find out. Anyway, the symbolism is still true. We had the sign of Revelation 12 in 2017. It was September, I think 23 or September something. I don't know when, but it was in a month of September, similar to now, where that sign appeared perfectly, and it will never appear again. So the sign of Revelation 21 is a foreshadow of what is to come. It's a pre-warning sign. And just like the Star of David was the alignment of the constellation, where it happened probably 3 years before the wise men actually found Yeshua. So now we have 2017 and the sign in the heavens. And we're now 3 years later, no, actually more than 3 years later. 2017, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, so we're basically going for the 4th year after that. So in the same sort of pattern of the sign appearing and then the real starting. Now, when we looked at Virgo, alignment of Virgo in 2017 during the Feast of Trumpets, there was no sign of what we see now. What we see now, and what we saw last year during the same time, is slowly, oppressing the people, slowly taking away freedom, slowly bringing in the time of sorrows. And it intensified for the 2nd year now. Will it intensify for the 3rd year, which is 2022, September? Will we see something then? Don't know. I know the signs that we need to look out for are in prophetic pictures in Matthew 24, as well as in Daniel, which are the 2 signs of the abomination of desolation set up in the holy place and the stopping of the sacrifices. That means our Jewish brothers need to start the sacrifices, which they will normally start around a Passover. So we need to look for the sign of the starting of the sacrifices this coming Passover of 2022. And once we see that, then we'll know they will stop the sacrifices. And if they put up an abomination of desolation on the Temple Mount, whatever that might be, then we know you start the counting of 3.5 years. Before that, it is not yet the Great Tribulation. So everybody just relax. It's not that. We are experiencing a shadow of, as you know, when someone is in labor, and when a woman is in labor, she feels the pain of the birth as if it is the real pain, but it is just the birth pain. So it's not the real pain. The real pain will climax, and it's much more severe than the birth pains. And what we experience now is the birth pains during September last year, the birth pains during September this year, then maybe the birth pains next year, until we get the sign, and then we get the birth, which is that last stint of the Great Tribulation and the River Jordan. So we are not there yet. We can't set dates. We can only observe the Moedim and see the times and the seasons. So I just want to put it out there. The other thing about the big V is people say, no, it's a sign of, the beast, the mark of the beast and all that. I think it's a shadow of. I don't think it's real. I think it's systems being put in place so we can get an idea of what it might look like and what it can do and what restrictions can be enforced if that is the case. But it's not the real thing yet, because the people will not be able to buy and sell after the starting of the Great Tribulation, when the anti-Messiah will reign for the time period of 3.5 years, which is the time period of the Great Tribulation. So I believe the abomination of desolation set up in the holy place is the announcement or the appointment of the Antichrist as ruler over the world, the one who will dictate peace. Whoever that is, we will see, and then we'll know. Can't predict. A lot of speculation going on. It's not about speculation, it's about recognizing patterns, fitting the patterns, and then testing it with scripture, specifically prophecy, and then we'll know the sign of the times. So I'm going to leave you with that. It's going to be an exciting study. Looking forward to that. We're going to look at the star constellations. We're going to look at the 7 stars. We're going to look at the number 7 yet again, because we're in the 7th month, and we're going to go up to the 7th festival and the 8th day. So all of that in the next season of the Fall Moedim, and I'll leave you with that today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Shalom.